Hello ladies, it's Allie here. I wanted to pop in. I'm gonna give like a couple seconds here because I know it just takes everyone like a minute to hop on and for you guys to get the notification. So as you hop on, we're just gonna do like a live, trying to get this in the right place, live channeled message and some guidance from the teams. Hey Sarah, and hey Julie. We'll do a little bit of guidance from the teams. I had wanted to trans channel, however, because I was in like the perfect energy for it earlier, and I'm still learning how to move aside, like basically to trans channel, your ego moves aside, your personality moves aside. I was just asking them, should we do a lesson on like the ego and stuff like that, like the oversoul and stuff? And they were like, that could be useful. So, however, Carson was supposed to be here to watch Finn for this, but he ended up having to go to some work drinks. So I'm not comfortable like doing it because when you trans channel, since I'm watching Finn, when you trans channel, basically what happens is your consciousness moves over. And you totally surrender it and you move out of your body and let another being come in and use your vessel. Because your body, like we always say, you're creating the body. The body is created by consciousness. It's not what's in control. Your consciousness is, like your mind is. And when they say mind, they mean your consciousness, and not just yours, but collective consciousness. So what happens is, I heard this described perfectly, like just by chance today by someone else, and it was your 3D self, so your ego self, your personality here moves aside, and basically your higher self completely shines through. If you think about it, like your higher self shines through and that allows collective consciousnesses or other souls, like other manifested entities, right? So Eric was like, itching to come in. Paul was thinking about coming in. He's gonna come in California. He's like ready to be back home. Like he's talking about, like, kind of jokingly. But like, you could have like a collective entity, like Ananda could come in, a Christ, the Christ consciousness could step in, any conscious collective that you think about could step in, another being could step in. There's a lot of different things that that you can allow. And so it takes a lot of trust. It also takes a lot of surrender. And for me, I have to get into a pretty like detached state, like a very peaceful state to be in it, and have to be able to really close my eyes and like sink into it. Like, it's funny. It's like you sink into yourself and then you realize you're surrendering your consciousness. So I've got too much going on to do it today. Since I'm watching Finn, I just don't feel totally comfortable while I'm watching him, but so they wanted to give you a little bit of a mini lesson instead, and do some readings for you guys. So as you have questions about things, pop them in. So they were saying, a lot of you guys are still having a little bit of fear about, you're starting to learn about trans channeling and stuff like that. That's a little scary for you. Fears about possession or losing control of your faculties is something that I heard one medium say, and now it comes into my mind, and I'm like, oh, is that a possibility? And they're like, no, we wouldn't allow that. Like, we wouldn't allow you to pee yourself, Allie. So, but I've actually trans channeled before. I've actually done it writing. When you auto write, you trans channel, but you're a little more conscious. So anyhow, so what they were saying was, what we want to run is actually very shortly here will be an auto writing workshop, because it's a way that a lot of people are already using. Your highest selves are already stepping in, and so we're gonna teach you how to trans channel and auto write with other beings. So your higher self, you could have Ananda come in, you could have Jesus come in, you could have anyone come in. And when I've trans channeled, I've actually really only done that with Paul when we were writing. I guess I have done it with more than a couple of people. I do it pretty often. When you're auto writing though, you don't have to step out as much. It's a little different. It's kind of like just like your mind goes blank, and you're still eyes open. When you trans channel, your eyes get closed, because you're seeing through your all-seeing eye. It's very different. And so I've let Jesus step in and also Eric has stepped in when I've been full trance channeling, and I still wasn't even totally out. It's kind of hard to explain. It was like I was here and they were here. I don't know how to explain it. But they're saying, you know, a lot of you guys will begin to see it happening in meditation. So they were like, we wanted to talk to you about the different, like, you know, types of consciousness. So that you're feeling more comfortable as you continue on your journey. So your gifts are going to unfold and you're going to come into contact with different consciousness beings. So many of which will be the ones that you already know. Many of which will be people that you would consider loved ones in this lifetime. Many of you will encounter past loved ones, past lives, and beings from past lives where they feel familiar and you can't put your finger on why. Many of you will encounter your past life selves. And so remember that these are not actually past, these lifetimes are happening at the same time. It's quite uncommon for someone to enter a past life and fully step into it, but it is possible. So every once in a while when you're in meditation, or if you go into your Akashic records, you're actually accessing a parallel lifetime. So you think of it as past life, like, so they're thinking about if you're drawn toward, say like I'm very drawn toward World War II, and what had happened during the Holocaust. So they were like, so Allison was actually a Jew in a concentration camp, so she has done quite a bit of movie watching in that arena in her youth, which I did. And so they were saying, so that actually is not happening in linear time, it's actually happening right now. So they're saying if you have irrational fears that come up, like I don't know why I'm so terrified of one of my children drowning, well, you actually have had a child drown potentially in another lifetime, right? So they're saying, yes, you have, Ellie, because that was one of my irrational fears. I didn't know why I was so afraid of it. But they were like, because it actually happened to you in another, not an alternate lifetime, but another parallel lifetime. So I would think of it as a past life, like they're saying like 300 years ago. But for the sake of linear time, you would say it was 300 years ago, but it actually is happening linearly. So what we want you to understand is you can actually call in the consciousness of those timelines, and everything you do in this timeline to raise your frequency actually affects the whole. And here's why. They're showing me a giant tree. So this is how they explain it to me. There's a giant tree, and there's multiple, say there's like 12 root systems going out from that tree, and then each of those 12 root systems has all of these little mini root systems. Say each of those 12 has 12 more mini root systems going off of each of them, and each of those mini ones have 12 more going off of each of them, and more and more and more, and then the root systems start to wrap around each other, but they're still separated, but they start to merge, and they like may grow into each other and through each other and stuff like that, and it just goes and goes and goes. And they said that is how consciousness works. So source is the entire tree, the root system, the ground, everything. However, for the sake of the way you think about your souls and your incarnations and the many beings you will encounter here on earth, they are all literally aspects of the same tree source. So what they've described to me is that your guides and teachers, like, so Ananda are my group of guides and teachers. I did not put this together for the longest time. I knew that I was calling my team, for whatever reason, the A-team, but I didn't know why. And I only have a couple of guides that I've consciously pulled in by name or by, you know, their own entity, which they can have. And we're not going to get too detailed here, but they're wanting you to learn about it so you understand when you're calling on different guides, they're actually aspects of you. So the Ananda and the A-team, I realized, are the same. They're one and the same. So when we talk about Ananda being higher consciousness beings, extraterrestrials who are of extremely high consciousness, like we're talking on Andromedan, Arcturian, Pleiadian, Sirian, as in the Sirius star system. There are also ascended masters, angels, things like that. So when we talk about Ananda being my team, they're a large collective consciousness, and there's actually no separation, and they're actually all aspects of me. And I'm not the original oversoul. So like there's the oversoul that's up towards the top of the root system, right? And that's the first branch that goes out from source, for example. And then there's all these little other branches and more branches under those branches. So it's like you have the oversoul is the absolute highest self. So they're saying, think about it like an octopus with all the tendrils. The octopus's head would be the highest self, the oversoul, and I, Allison, would just be one little point on the tendril. Does that make sense? So like I'm not the whole soul, but the whole soul can be expressed through me. And they're saying, so not quite in that personality. Your oversoul doesn't have a personality. That's what they keep saying. The oversoul does not carry personality. It's constantly evolving and learning through having multiple incarnations that are happening simultaneously in loops, and in which, as you raise the frequency of one incarnation, remember, you're all part of the same tree. So as you do that, you raise the frequency of the entirety. The truth is, you're actually always at the frequency of love and light, but you just misperceive that. So for the sake of this discussion, we want you to remember that you actually are love, that you cannot be anything else. As you begin to evolve your consciousness and become more aware, many of you are for your 3D reality, for your separated self, physical reality, you're actually in a higher frequency than the average being is aware of. So they're saying aware of. So it doesn't mean you're actually higher, it means you're aware of higher frequency. Does that make sense? So that is why you're able to converse with beings who are free from the physical form, who are consciousness, who have returned to source. And source is able to communicate with you as Eric, as he was here. Eric has become his highest self. So the highest self has chosen to manifest Eric as an entity on a continuous basis because of the impact of his life. It chose to use that, it chose to use that. So they're saying, Kathy, it's almost difficult to understand because we are in a linear, what we feel is a linear time frame, like past, present, future. They're saying life is actually only happening in the present. That's it. The past isn't real. The future isn't real. Like so when you think about past lives and future lives, it's actually all happening at the same time, right? Like, so it's not like this nice linear progression. It's actually all at the same time in a continuous loop. So they're like, even saying it's in a loop, Allison, they're like talking to me. Even saying it's in a loop, Allison, is not correct because that would imply there's still time. It's only right now, right now, right now. So what you're doing for yourself in that one thing, yes, he has many. He said, I'm aspects of you guys. That's how I'm able to work with you. He said, I'm not necessarily in the same tendril as you guys would have been, like the same branch, but I'm part of the same root system. So he said, now, you know, with this root system, it's not just 12, it's millions and millions. He's like, it gets really complex. We don't want to get too into detail. We just want you guys to understand that when you're talking to guides, you are all source. You are all part of the same consciousness. You are all the collective unconsciousness. The highest frequency beings are coming in helping you because in a sense they're helping themselves at the same time. When you converse with us, you're actually conversing with parts of yourself because we're all aspects of source. So they're saying, so when you think about doing things like auto writing, stepping aside, conversing with beings, you don't actually have to be afraid of anything unless you're afraid of yourself, getting to know yourself, right? So they're saying, so that's what it mirrors a lot of the time when people are letting the ego come into their manifestations of their collective understanding of ghosts, or, you know, they're like what you would call ghosts. They're seeing fears mirrored, but it doesn't mean that that's what the entity is actually trying to project. Heather, oh my God, it's so funny you asked that question. I wasn't going to talk about this. And they're saying, so when many of you converse with Jonathan, guess who you're conversing with? And they're pointing to me. They're like, Allie is actually coming through. So I've had this conveyed to me many times that he and I are twins. And they're saying, so you cannot be twins unless you come from the same parent soul. So they're saying, so when Allie, when Jonathan comes in, and I don't know if you guys remember this on a call, and he was like telling me, he was like, tell them you came with me. And I was like, I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't go with you. And he was like, you were there. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, close your eyes and see it. And I could see it. And I was like, oh my God, I see myself hugging Sarah. It was so weird. And he was like, Allie, you and I are divine twins. We're actually twin flames. He's just, you know, in the non-physical form. I was like, what's the word? So he and I are actually twins. So when you guys converse with what you think is Jonathan, it's still Jonathan as, for the sake of separation, it's still Jonathan as his own entity, expressing himself as Yeah, they're just kind of like sidebarring. But like he was like, Ali often travels with me, and so it's not that you can't access any aspect of consciousness. You actually can, because you're all the same source. But because I'm what you would consider closer in consciousness to her, like we're closer in the tendril to each other, she is able to access like alternate timelines, not alternate timelines, alternate wavelengths, like frequencies of existence with me, like see through my eyes. Does this kind of make sense a little bit? It's really interesting. Like, and yes, Lori, it is all energy. It's all energy. It's all one giant loving energy. And they're saying energy isn't even the right word, but for the sake of our human vocabulary, they're saying your language is very limited. like we can't even describe really what it is. So it's all energy. Source is all just one giant energy. So it's just like all these wavelengths of energy just playing with each other, really. That's all we really are. So like your hair is energy, your skin is energy, my earrings are energy, thoughts are energy, energy's energy. So it's really interesting. Yeah, and so they're saying, so many of you are conversing with Paul Walker. He is part of a larger collective in your tree, right? Like they were like, man, he's so popular, he's his own collective consciousness. So they're saying anytime you deal with an entity, there's actually a collective speaking through that entity, but the collective is that entity's all of their experiences, all of their larger oversoul coming through and saying, well, right now I have to be Eric for this group. So I'm going to continue to be Eric. And so you could have a collective entity coming through and expressing as Paul and able to access all of Paul's memories and the way he would talk and the way he would stand. I trans-channeled him yesterday, and I was still partially in my body, and I could feel my face making facial expressions that I was like, I don't smile like that. Like I was aware of it. It was really weird. And so, but like it starts to, am I a guide for someone else's incarnation? They're saying you all are at the highest self level. Everyone's highest self is a guide for others, right? Because your highest self is not is not attached to a body. It's expressing itself infinitely through different forms. So I actually asked today, this is wild. I asked, is my highest self having other physical expressions on this planet? And they were like, yeah, you're around some of them. And I was like I was like blown away. I was like, have I slept with any of them? Like I was like, no. Like I was like so weirded out. And they were like, no. But they were like, but you do have some friends that are the same oversoul, but having unique experiences. And so they told me who some of those people were, and there's some that I haven't met yet. But for the most part, they're saying it's different root systems, so different oversouls having experiences together, if that makes sense. There's like talking about how the root systems come and intertwine around each other. Isn't that weird? So they were saying, so you guys never have to feel unsafe conversing with any of us because we're part of you. Like we may appear as different entities with different personalities and looks and unique experiences to help you with, but that's why your soul had those experiences, so you could benefit from them as you went through your awakening, right? So you could benefit from higher consciousness, because Eric's saying you only use about like 8 to 10% of your consciousness when you're in a body. He's like, even the most enlightened masters, he's like, they'll zing up to like 50-60%, and it's like, he was like, it takes absolute letting go. He's saying letting go of your personality, like your ego self, stepping the F out and not being afraid. He said it's like fear release has to happen, and it's very rare. Even for ascended masters, it was like they had to basically go live in the fucking woods by themselves where nothing could interfere. He was like, and it was very rare for them to zing up to that. They would come back down. So, or come back to the limited consciousness again, because you're back in the physical body, right? So he is saying, but Jesus, however, was someone who was actually able to literally release his ego and walk out of his body. And that's how his life actually, he said it didn't end, it transcended. He literally came to an older age and chose to step out. It wasn't, he said, in essence, that's what you all do. Even if you get into a dramatic, car accident like Paul did or something, Paul still stepped out, right? Like his soul still made the choice. although he wasn't conscious of it when it was happening. Jesus was consciously stepped out. So they're saying it's really interesting. So they're saying you guys never have to be afraid. They're kind of helping me too. You never have to be afraid of trans-channeling us, writing with us, working with us, getting guidance from us. We are not going to do anything to purposely harm you, right? Like, we're not going to do anything to purposefully scare you, because we are parts of you. Why do we want to do that? We're here to help you evolve consciousness, and there's a large collective evolution happening on your planet. So we're all part of that. Ooh, you got your tutu? Yay! Show me again. Well, he's like, how's it turn on? So start typing in comments while I'm looking at Finn for a second. Oh, good job, sir. Is this why we recognize strangers? Yes. Oh my gosh, Lori. I'm so glad you asked that. I think about that sometimes, and I heard it described in, if you guys have ever read The Luminaries, I started reading it and didn't finish it, but in the beginning, the author talks about he sees this little girl and he can't stop looking at her. He doesn't know what it is, and he's a little boy at the time, and he never stops thinking about her for like 10 years because he just feels like it's like something about her. He's like, I don't know what it is, but he talks about being able to pass someone on the sidewalk and think about them for days and imagine their whole lives and wonder. I was like, I've been doing that since I was like 5. Like, I literally can't get the person out of my head for 3 days. I can almost feel their life. Like, I almost like feel like I'm in them. And they're like, those would be parts of you, past lives, twins, or they're like, a lot of times they aren't twins, but they're soul families. When you guys meet a twin flame, guess what? Guess who that is? So they're like saying, but it's like at the higher level. So a lot of the time you don't have to be worried about, oh, this is so gross, I'm sleeping with myself, I'm sleeping with my brother. They're like, this whole freaking thing you're in is about you having a relationship with yourself. It's all aspects of you. You're all source. Like, they're like, so get over it, have the relationships, have the fun. And they're like, and for that matter, have the relationships with your guides. We're your family. They're like, consider us family. Consider us family, if that makes you more comfortable. Ashley and I are actually part of the same branch too. We were talking about that. She has a guy named Edward, and he looks like Jonathan. And I was like, are you guys? And Jonathan was explaining to me they're part of the same branch too. Like, they have their own branch that they're in. Oh, good job. They have their own branch that they're in. But Edward is a different entity manifestation of the branch. So they like went like this, and Jonathan has his own thing and Edward has his own thing. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then Jonathan's like, then I'm over here, and you're like over here, Allie. So she has like her own Jonathan, but it's Edward. So like, he was like, that entity would never call itself Jonathan. It doesn't think about itself being Jonathan. He was like, you know, what do you want to say? He's like, I'm going to explain this way better. He's like, will you let me talk? No, he's very sweet. He's saying, so you guys are getting confused. So here's the deal. He's like, listen, all you need to know is there's collective consciousness. You are all collective consciousness at all times. You may think you're just a body. For the sake of your separated views, we'll continue to talk to you as Allison or Ashley. Good job. Oh, you know what? I'll find it in a minute, okay? I'll come help you.
There's one in the bag.
Oh, okay. We'll look in a minute, okay? We'll look in a minute. So he's saying, so for the sake of things, all you need to know is that your collective consciousness, you can access anything you want to, not just what's in your soul group or soul family. And when we come to work with you, when I come to work with you as Jonathan, just consider it me, Jonathan. Don't feel like Allie's all of a sudden going to access all of your shit. She's not. I'm like, I have no interest in that unless you want me to and you want me to help you access something. Like, he's like, remember, I have full expanded consciousness as Jonathan. He's like, so I'm my own entity, but I'm very aware of my oneness. I see it. I feel it all the time. Same thing with Eric, same thing with Paul, same thing with your loved ones who have crossed over from this lifetime, like grandparents. He's saying Grandpa Bill. I have a Grandpa Bill too, Kathy. I have a Grandma Florence. He's saying, so same thing with her. She's aware of herself having been Florence right? Like she understands that manifestation and she has the full breadth of that lifetime of experiences. However, she is because we've left the physical form, we're highly aware of the universal love energy and that we are part of it together. Like we don't actually consider ourselves separate anymore. We actually consider ourselves the collective. And so when we come to speak with you, we're speaking with you, we often will have a collective coming to speak with you, but it will come through the voice of Jonathan, or it will come through the voice of Eric, or it will come through the voice of your loved one. Right? So he's saying ancestors can come to work with you, and they often do, because guess what? A lot of your ancestors are you now. they're like reincarnated as you. He's saying, or, it's kind of hard to explain, but he's like, just understand that you're a collective. There's nothing you need to be afraid of. We love the fuck out of you. We're not, he's like, Eric goes, we love the mother effing fuck out of you. We're not going to, we don't judge you guys. There's no judgment here. We love you guys. We're here to help you. We understand and remember what's going on. You guys just, because you come in with spiritual amnesia, you don't. So they're saying, so don't be worried about working with us, Give Kathy a name of a guy that she can call on. I'm hearing the name Sarah Beth. There's one named Sarah Beth that you can call on. And Lynn. The name Lynn is coming in. Let me see. Lori, they're saying your mom's here. She's just hanging back. Like they keep showing like a form in the corner, but just like kind of, they're saying she's being kind of shy. Doesn't like an audience or something like that. Like they're kind of smirking. They're kind of laughing a little bit. Was she shy, or is that a sarcastic thing? I'm having trouble kind of. I'm wondering what you see when you see your guides. Is it like you see them as you would? Oh, no, I actually see them like what they look like. So I can see where they would kind of be standing, right? Like, so like for Lori's mom though, I caught an outline of like a quick flash and I didn't catch features with it. With Eric, a lot of the time I can catch features because I've seen pictures of him in the past. With Jonathan, it took a while for his features to totally come in. With Paul, I knew what he looked like. You know what I mean? Like I already knew, so it was easier to pull in and see his facial expressions. Grace, I still can't quite get her full facial features. I get characteristics, but her full facial features, I can't totally, I'm not as clairvoyant as as some mediums are. So I don't personally see auras unless it's more like I have claircognizance with auras, if that's what you're asking about. I have seen orbs, like large orbs before, after I've come out of meditation. When I've been in meditation, I've seen beings in many different forms. Like I've seen light beings in foggy, giant blobs of energy, like really beautiful, radiant forms. Like almost like, yeah, they're like so high dimensional, it's like almost hard to describe it, like shimmery. Like the colors aren't even, it was hard to explain. It was more like a feeling I had with it too. I asked a question earlier about connecting with guides. I still feel like I'm not able to, and yet I've been feeling great, really great lately, lots of play. They're saying just keep trusting your process. The more you play and the more you have fun, the higher frequency you are, and the more aware of love's presence you are. And they're saying that is all the guidance you guys really need, is feeling love within you and recognizing it in the world around you and calling upon it and choosing to lead with it. They're saying you guys want to connect. The reason we're telling you that we're aspects of you is because you rely so heavily on us, yet we are you. So we're there. Oftentimes we are reflecting the higher self's guidance that you are not hearing. It's going to help you in this lifetime. So what you can do when you're not hearing, or you don't think that you're hearing, or you don't think that you're knowing the guidance, they're saying, oftentimes you are, you just don't think it's what it is what it is. They're saying what we want you to remember is to center and remember you have an internal guidance system at all times, and it is called your emotions. And your emotions are quite clear, and they will tell you at all times, am I leading with love? Am I leading with fear? If I'm having a negative thought or a fearful emotion, it's a call to add love and to choose a loving thought or activity or emotion, usually a thought first, Instead, it's a call to shift a belief system and to change things for the better in my life. I hope that helps. Yeah, Joanna, they're saying, Ashley's a part of you, but not in the way that you're thinking. Like they're saying, it doesn't really matter as if you feel the closeness with someone, that's all you got to focus on. They're saying, now imagine you guys, if you could feel that closeness and have no hierarchy in your relationships based on any preference. What if you removed all of the hierarchical, but I love this person more because they're my romantic partner or my child or my parent or a brother, sister, or best friend? What if you could remove the hierarchy and see all as equal? They're like, your life, like it's gonna blow your mind because you won't be in your head anymore. You're gonna be in your heart and life's gonna be fucking good. Like they're like, life will be so damn good when you guys stop prioritizing, I feel closer to this person or I don't feel good with that person. They're like, if you don't feel good about someone, that's you, not them. Like Eric's like, I want you guys, he's like, I want you guys to get this because compassion is gonna save your fucking planet. Like, he's like, seeing love and everyone's gonna save your damn planets. Let me just make sure I'm getting to everything. Yeah, it's super chirpy. So yeah, they're saying, so you guys all at the highest self level are actually guides for other people. Like you have, they're like, you're in this incarnation and that's all you're seeing from your limited vantage point, but you're actually up here too, and you're guiding others. And so they're saying, so when you guys think about bilocation, you are literally able to go and be in two places at one time, and you actually are. You actually are all the time. So they're saying, I remember thinking way back when I was like, I want to be a spirit guide. I want to be your spirit guide after I cross over. And they're like, Allie, you already are a spirit guide. You're not recognizing it, like, because you think your guides are separate from you. Your guides are literally like, they're parts of you. You are spirit guiding yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, we're all parts of you. And so you can have guides come to mentor multiple people in many, many different forms. And it's not always all that one oversoul. Like, they're like, you can have many collective consciousnesses come in and have them from different legs, but they're like, for the sake of it being all one, it's all source. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, aspects equal fractals. Yeah. What? All right, I don't see any other questions up there. Sorry, I was just going back. Some of our guides could be someone else who is alive today, their higher self coming in and guiding us. Yes, totally fucking possible. They're like, not uncommon, actually. That's so weird. I'm like, I can't, like, I'm still trying to understand this myself. They're like, stop trying to understand, feel it. I took out a whole new level, but thought I was a little crazy. They're saying it's more astro traveling, Kate, rather than bilocating. Yeah, they're saying for the sake of staying sane about this, you guys, just stay focused on being present where you are. Love yourself where you are, but we just want you to understand your guides they're saying they're friends, not foes. Like, we're not here to test you or treat you badly, or we're not going to be hard on your bodies. I'm going to do an auto writing workshop here in a couple weeks. They're saying we want you guys to be comfortable when you decide to come in and work with us. You're not going to have anyone come in and mess with you unless it's Eric teasing you or having fun. So really that's all you need to focus on. We don't want you to get too heady with this. We just wanted to explain that it's really all one giant tree leading up to source. It's all source expressing itself in a million ways. You're just one piece of it. So just be focused on being present in this lifetime. You came here to have this lifetime. You came here to accomplish something in it, to not to accomplish in a sense of, oh my God, if I don't fulfill a mission, I'm gonna fail. They're like, it's more about love. Like most of you guys, when a soul says I came here to do certain things, it's really about having the evolutionary experience or the revolutionary experience of loving the self and leading with love and learning through relationship in the lifetime. So all of it is relationship to self in the separated universe. So what they're saying is continue to focus on being in the present and continue to work with your mind. Like they're constantly guiding me and saying, was that an unloving thought, and giving me guidance on how to even talk to Finn differently. And because there's so much indoctrinated, we don't even understand when we're choosing something unloving or phrasing something unloving or in a fear mode when, like it's almost hard to spot it because we're so used to certain things. So they're saying, what you need to work on the most and more than anything is your mind. Continue to work on your mind. It will elevate your frequency to continuously choose love, to continuously be open to love's guidance. So when you are being open to love's guidance, that is when your guides can come in, because your guides are pure love and you're pure love. So it's like love meets love and they meet in the middle and they converse together. So they're saying like, don't be afraid of your guides is what we're saying. Don't be nervous about your guides judging you. We're just more aware of all of the aspects of self. We're more aware of the full encompassing experience of which you're having. We can see more of the subconscious thought patterns going on, and we will help you overcome them and help you choose love. That's all they're trying to say. We're coming in as aspects of you, as different beings to help guide you to do certain things. Like if you have a guide coming in, like Eric helps you laugh and he makes it fun. Like he makes it fun to open up. Grace comes in to remind you to allow yourself grace, to give grace as a great gift. So they were saying thank you to me for introducing her, because a lot of you are going to start to work with her. They're saying you'll have your own guides, but they may be related to us, right? There's like, let's just call it same soul groups. Let's just say it's that. For Heather's husband. I'm hearing the name Zach, like over and over. Oh, that's great, Sarah. Heather, does he know someone named Zach? I'm hearing Zach, Boback, Banana, Fana, Fofac, Fee, Fi, Fomac, Zach. I'm like, is this a guide? Who is it? So they're saying in general, the message is, it feels like it might be a guide. Like they're like calling him in. They're playing a song, party people, party people, party people. I can do as many as I can. My phone is under the like 15% mark. So they're saying for Heather's husband, be true to yourself. Don't worry about finances so fucking much. Money is not the root of your issues or your fears. Your fears are that you will not be able to provide, that you will not be secure and supported, but that is impossible when you follow your heart, when you follow your faith and you do what you love. They're saying, don't be worried about the money, man. Stop stressing about the fucking money. They're like, money is manifested. It is not real. When we worry about money, you guys, what we are really doing is reflecting an inner fear that we will not be safe and held should something happen to our finances, and nothing could be further from the truth. When you actually lose all of your finances, many people get a great gift, which is you learn pure, unadulterated bliss and resourcefulness, because you realize, wow, it wasn't my money, my self-worth didn't go away just because I didn't get my money, or just because I don't have money. So you're actually freed from that burden finally. And then after that, it becomes fun to make money again. they're showing a choking. Like he feels, is that about him? He feels like there's someone above him. Maybe the boss you're mentioning, they're saying he's feeling the pressure. The boss doesn't want it to feel that way for him, but your husband is interpreting it as he's got a choke, like there's like a chokehold on him, like the pressure is they're going like this, like they're showing him loosening a necktie. They're saying, man, you shift your perception of what's going on, and you're gonna go, and they're showing him on a beach with like a pina colada. Like it's really, they're like, you need to free yourself of this perception. Tell him to start to ask himself, can I see this differently? How can I choose this not to be such a restraint or a burden? Because it's not actually what he thinks he is. He thinks it is. He's misinterpreting what the work he's being given, the tasks he's being given. He's feeling the burden. He could see it as a blessing and a gift and seek to understand it a little bit more and feel grateful. But he thinks the work's being handed down. They're saying desk dumping. Like it's like, he's like, oh, like why is this guy like dumping his shit on me? And they're like, that's not what the other person's intending to make him feel at all. And they're saying the other person also needs this, like as well, like to loosen his stuff. I have got to hurry here, you guys. Kathy. Oh, they're saying the same. They're kind of on the same lines. Money, 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 money. They're saying, you guys be resourceful. They're saying this goes for everyone. Be resourceful with your finances. Stop feeling like you got to pinch your pennies all the time. You guys are in constant fear that your money's going to run out, and it's just such garbage. Like, money's a limitless resource. We will come in and do a live just on this in the Intuitive Soul Collective group and probably the other group. Money is not your issue. A lack of resourcefulness is your issue, and a lack of resourcefulness shows a deep-rooted fear. It's just a lack of recognition of love and source in the universe being supportive of you. You guys think when money doesn't show up that God doesn't love you. You guys are constantly focusing on money being the root of all evil. It's not. You guys manifested money. You guys created it. You guys keep relying on it. They're saying, why don't you guys start to shift your focus off your money and towards doing what you love, and realize that your innate value is untouchable, irreplaceable. They're saying that song, you're irreplaceable. And they're saying money is not the issue. It's never the issue. You guys need to start to rise above it. So they're singing money, 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 money. And I've definitely had my stuff with that. So if any of you guys are thinking about private coaching, I do a lot of mentorship with people around that stuff, a lot. Because I will tell you, when you start to do what is fun and you give yourself freedom to do that, you're going to make more money. I promise you, because you're in a higher impact energy, a loving, trusting energy. So sometimes people will say, well, I started to do this, this, and this, and I started to do these things, and the money didn't come in. And they're like, well, because you're still in the lack mindset. And there's still fear in there, like a pushing energy. Okay, I'm below 10% on this baby. Emily's husband, they're saying cool cat. He's a cool cat. They're saying he's pretty chill. He could take a chill pill on. Is he like nervous about you going too spiritual? Like, he's not really sure what to think of it. They're saying, just let him know, honey, I'm not gonna go off the deep end with this. I'm still me. That's what they're kind of saying for him, Emily. Yeah, grace definitely gives you a really great feeling. Sarah, I love that. Actually, Ashley uses songs or she did for a while, use songs as signs that a guide was coming in. Some people use certain, like they'll just get the name in. Some people, like I just have a knowing of who's in now. they're like, Allie's basically got a party in her kitchen. There's like so much. I'm like, I know there's a lot over there. They're like, well, it's all collective consciousness, so you guys always are part of a party. They're like, you guys are literally never alone. Isn't that cool? I used to get freaked out about that. I don't even want to like, I was like, can my grandparents see me when I'm like going to the bathroom? And they were like, we don't care. And I was like, I don't want you to see that. Like, go away. But they're like, we don't care. How do I get back into a better space, better vibe? Lori, they're saying just keep focusing on self-love. So I've been having a lot of like when I'm feeling anxious or frustrated about something, they'll literally say, I'll literally start hearing affirmations in my head, like they're just plugging them in and almost flooding me with them. I love myself unconditionally. Oh, there I go, love, 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 love. And I'll just be like, love, 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 love. Like, and it revs my engine back up. They're showing a lawnmower, like, vroom, like they're saying when you get into the energy of love, your physical energy will actually pick up. You'll feel more energized and positive. Oh my God, Sarah, that's too funny. Of course it did, because we're all in the same, like, you're all in the same soul group, man. Like, they're like, you got a lot of souls in there, so don't freak out. You're not gonna all... They're like, you guys get to have a lot of fun relationships with yourself, but there are other oversouls that many, like, they're like, it's actually not super common to have lots of like twin souls or pairings bump into each other all the time. Like, a lot of what you meet are actually other soul group members or extensions outside of that, so it's not all the same oversoul. A lot of you guys, like, same oversoul is not very common. Although when you rise in vibration, you tend to attract higher vibrational people, whether they're in your same oversoul group or in others. They're like others. You know what I mean? Yeah, having people watch sex. They're like, we've all been human. We all, you know what I mean? Like, we get it. We get the sex thing. Any other quick questions? Because I gotta get going here. My phone is gonna die. Dead as a doornail. I'm hearing from, it's Marley and Marley, whoa! From Christmas Carol, Muppet Christmas Carol. I love Christmas. I don't see anything else. Sorry I couldn't trans channel tonight. I'm gonna have to do it when I can, like, really, I have to be just kind of in a different place with it. Yeah, but grandparents watching, yuck. I know, I've thought about that too. But, like, isn't there some part of yourself that's like, they're probably cheering me on? I'm actually reading a new book right now. It's called Making Love to God. It's fascinating. It is written by, well, it was written by another woman who channels Ananda, these guys. So the larger collective. So it's really fascinating. It's not just about sex. It's very much reframing how we think about sex and how we think about sexual energy and Kundalini energy and the mind and shame around sex. So if you guys are wanting to heal some of that and improve, they're saying improve your sex lives, whether you have a partner right now or not, like a divine twin coming in. Like, okay. So it actually will improve a lot of things because it'll heal your relationship with your own mind is primarily it. So they're like, it'll actually help a lot of you guys with channeling because it's a lot of mind addressing the mind. So they're saying, so don't make it too complicated. We just wanted to give you guys a really fun lesson. I want you guys to understand that we're family and you don't have to be afraid of us. Many of the people you meet on earth are just loving beings looking for love just like you, and when you channel you're only going to pick up the highest consciousness, so don't worry about it. Making Love to God by Tina Louise Spalding. Yeah, she has a very, very clear channel. She trans channels. She actually has a YouTube that's really good. Like, I avoided it like the plague because my frequency, I guess I wasn't there yet. And then I finally started watching and I like couldn't stop. I was like, holy shit. Like, there's still a lot of videos I haven't watched, but there have been some that helped me through my like dark night of the soul over the summer. I watched some of her channelings and they were really good, especially the ones on sexual energy because there's so much shame around that in society. So Tina Louise Spalding. Yeah, she's a really good one. I think I mentioned her to Kate too. Actually, I'm not sure. Might have been Kate. Ashley too. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I'm just kind of like chilling. Any other questions? Nada? Alrighty, I'm gonna get going. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.